Have you ever made a choice that felt right, only to realize later that it wasn't as logical as you thought? Every day, we make hundreds of decisions. What to wear, who to trust, when to quit. But what if most of those choices aren't truly yours? What if your mind is quietly bending reality through invisible filters, hidden biases controlling your decisions without you even realizing it? In this video, we'll uncover the 3 hidden biases that secretly shape the way you think, act, and decide. As you watch, consider a recent decision you've made. Did any of these biases influence you? Once you understand them, you'll start seeing the world and your behavior in a completely new light. Human beings like to believe we're rational creatures. We analyze, we compare, we choose. But psychology has proven that our brains are far more emotional and far more biased than we want to admit. Our minds use shortcuts, called cognitive biases, to make quick judgments and save mental energy. They evolved to protect us, but in today's complex world, they often lead us astray. Imagine your brain as a courtroom. Your rational mind is the judge, but the real power lies with the unseen advisors whispering in the background. Your biases. They influence how you see people, interpret information, and even remember the past. Let's look at the 3 biggest ones that quietly run your life. Have you ever noticed how you tend to seek out information that agrees with what you already believe? That's confirmation bias in action. It's the mental habit of favoring evidence that supports your existing views and ignoring or discrediting anything that challenges them. You might think, I'm just being logical. But what's really happening is your brain's attempt to protect your ego. The mind hates being wrong. So, it filters reality to reduce discomfort. A psychological trick known as cognitive dissonance. For example, you believe you're a good judge of character, so you overlook red flags in people you like. You believe a particular diet is effective, so you only watch videos or read articles that support it. You believe someone dislikes you, so you interpret every neutral action as proof. This bias is powerful because it makes us feel certain, even when we're wrong. The more we surround ourselves with agreement, the more trapped we become in our own mental echo chamber. The key to escaping it: curiosity. Ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? It's uncomfortable, but it's the only way to see reality clearly. To actively challenge this bias, try integrating a simple daily habit into your routine. Seek out one opposing viewpoint on a topic you feel strongly about. This exercise will help stretch your perspective and weaken the grip of confirmation bias over time. Picture this. You hear about a plane crash on the news. Suddenly, flying feels terrifying, even though the odds of crashing are lower than being struck by lightning. That's availability bias. The tendency to overestimate the importance of information that's easiest to recall. Our minds don't calculate probability based on data. They rely on emotion. The more vivid or recent a memory is, the more real it feels. This is why sensational news dominates our fears and why marketing thrives on storytelling. Psychology calls this the vividness effect. Our brains evolved to remember emotional experiences because in the wild, remembering danger could mean survival. But in the modern world, This instinct skews perception. A bad breakup often leads us to believe that love always hurts. A single failure makes us fear trying again. The mind gives weight not to truth, but to what feels most alive. To counter availability bias, remind yourself, just because it's vivid doesn't mean it's common. Look for real data, not just loud memories. By confronting these dramatic stories with facts, you'll train your mind to separate uncommon but vivid events from everyday realities. Imagine you're shopping for a watch. The first one you see costs $500. The next is $150, and suddenly it feels like a bargain. That's anchoring bias, the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive. This bias doesn't just affect shopping, it shapes every area of life. The first impression you have of someone often sticks, even if new evidence says otherwise. The first salary offer in a negotiation sets the tone for the entire conversation. Even your self-image can become anchored by the labels others gave you years ago. Anchoring works because the mind craves reference points. When we lack information, we cling to whatever appears first, even if it's wrong. Breaking free from it means slowing down your decision-making process. Ask yourself, what would I think if I didn't know this first? That single question can shatter an illusion before it takes root. These three hidden biases, confirmation, availability, and anchoring, are only a few of the hundreds shaping human behavior. But these three alone explained why smart people make irrational choices, why arguments rarely change minds, and why our gut feelings are often just recycled thoughts from old experiences. The human mind is a master storyteller. It doesn't always tell the truth. It tells the version of truth that protects us. Understanding your biases doesn't make you weak. It makes you conscious. Once you learn to pause before reacting, to question before believing, you start reclaiming your freedom of thought. That's the power of psychology. It gives you a mirror to see the invisible strings that pull your decisions. We all like to think we're in control, but the truth is, much of our behavior runs on autopilot. To good news, awareness changes everything. When you learn to spot your hidden biases, you gain the power to rewrite the patterns that once controlled you. So, the next time you're about to make a big decision, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, is this choice truly mine, or is it a story my mind is telling me? Let's make that conversation real. Think about a recent decision you've made. Was it influenced by confirmation bias, availability bias, or anchoring bias? Please share in the comments which bias you recognize most in that scenario and how it shaped your choice. Awareness starts there.